that God allowed him to interpret that dream, and the fact that God allowed Pharaoh to have a dream that needed interpreted was the only thing that brought it back to Joseph. Because the guy that said he was going to do what he was going to do for him, when I get out, I'm going to look out for you. Look out for, he didn't look out for nothing but himself. People do you like that too. Yes. And so listen. But God will fix it. We don't know. He could have been in there all his life for all we know. But God will fix it for it, so that it will come back to you. God, listen, that's what you have to learn. These are minor setbacks. And you need to start telling yourself, listen, don't blame folk. It don't matter. It's done. Learn to forgive from the beginning. Listen, let me tell you. It's easier to forgive in the beginning than to wait. The longer you let it sit and settle, it's like when you let something sit too long in the pot, and then the longer you let it sit, the harder it is to squirrel it out for you. I used to wash dishes too, so I know how hard it is to get it out. But it's the same way with forgiveness. Well, rather unforgiveness. The longer you let it sit and simmer and marinate, the harder it's going to be to forgive the person. Go ahead and learn. That's what Joseph did. See, Joseph forgave them from the jump, from the beginning. Not one time you're going to find in here, after his brother sold him, he doesn't say anything about it until this point. And guess what when he's talking about it at this point, what he talking about? He's talking about, don't be mad at y'all. I know you sold it. It's good. It's good. It's all good. That's what he said in verse 4. In verse 5. Don't be mad because he understood something, because it's how you look at setbacks. I'm about to put the ribbon on it right here. It's how you look at the setbacks, Philip, bro. As long as you develop that mindset that you're trying to find everybody who's at fault, everybody who's to blame, every reason why you should still be upset and complaining about the situation that you're in, you're going to continue to hold on to that. But when you do like Joseph and you say, I'm not worried about it, I was expecting setbacks because setbacks happen. And then when you say, listen, it don't matter whose fault it is, it's done now. I'm just moving on.
All right.
Done now. I'm moving on. Once you do that, watch what God starts for. Joseph had already forgave him. I'm here to tell somebody who got crossed last night, or somebody who got their feelings hurt yesterday, or somebody who was sensitive this morning. Go ahead and forgive. Go ahead and let it go now. Don't leave church with it. Don't take it home with it. Don't sleep on it overnight, because the longer you sleep on it, the harder it's going to get, and the harder it's going to get for you to get it out. You need to learn like Joseph, and you need to say like Joseph, it's a minor setback, but Lord, I know you working out a major comeback. And that's what Joseph understood. I'm wrapping it up. Last point I'm going to give you, right here. After he told them, don't be mad or grieve with yourself because you sold it. Yeah, you sold it. God sent me here. That's how he looked at it. Joseph decided to stop looking at it as my brother sold me. He decided, how many of y'all do that? How many of y'all do that? Look at what Joseph, he didn't say y'all sold me. See, he stopped looking at it like that. Well, he decided to God sent me here. He just used y'all to get me here. Like Paul. You never heard Paul complain on his way to Rome. Good Lord, I'm on here with all these prisoners. He recognized that was God's way of sending him here. And y'all got to understand that sometimes, listen, you want God to do it your way and at your time and how exactly you want to do it, and you want it all to feel good, but God don't always work like that. And so you got to develop the mindset like Joseph had. It wasn't that my brother sold me, God sent me here. I mean, if you look at it like that. Yeah, that's like, listen, God sent me here. Watch this. He said, listen, y'all didn't sell me, God sent me here. Verse 6. For these 2 years, the famine has been in the land. For 2 years, it's been bad. And nobody had nothing to eat. Folk ain't had nothing to drink. But guess what? He said, it's 5 more years to come. You ain't seen nothing yet. 5 more years to come. Ain't gonna be no plowing. Ain't gonna be no harvesting. Ain't nothing coming from nowhere for 5 more years. But guess what? Y'all didn't sell me. God sent me here so that I could preserve a posterity. Good Lord. Last point I'm going to give you. You got to know this afternoon. You got to know when your feelings are hurt. You got to know when you suffer setbacks. You got to know when people hurt you. You got to know not only are setbacks going to happen, not only should you not worry about whose fault it is, the third and last thing what Joseph knew. Joseph knew that God would take every setback and use for a comeback. How you know that? Well, 5 more years is coming. Verse 7, God sent me before you to preserve a posterity for you in the earth and save your life by great deliverance. So he reiterates to them, you didn't sell me, you didn't do me wrong, God used you to do his will. So now, it's not you who sent me here, verse 8, amen. It's not you who sent me here, but God. Huh? How many of you are still crying and still worrying and still plotting instead of saying, God, I know you're going to work this out? How many of you are still trying to figure out who to blame? How many of you are blaming your mama, blaming your daddy, blaming something that happened to you when you were 13 and you 33 now? How many of you are still doing that instead of saying, God, thank you that you used that to get me to where I am now? You got to know that God uses setbacks. This is a minor setback. Minor setbacks become major comebacks. You look at it as a setback, but Joseph understood, like you have to understand, that it was God working in all of that. And he said, listen, you sent me here, you sold me into slavery, but it was God that did it. And when God got me here, he used my life to make me the father to Pharaoh and the Lord of all of his house. Verse 8, and a ruler throughout the land of Egypt. Now hurry up and go get my daddy. Bring my daddy back down here and say, Daddy, your son is sitting large. Your son is in charge. Your son is calling the shots. Go get my daddy and tell him. Hurry up. I'm calling the shots. How about y'all? Can you see how God took those setbacks in Joseph's life and made a major comeback? You got to understand today, listen, you got to understand today that regardless of what happens in your life, God is able to take what's meant for evil and work it out for your good. God